4 political parties have applied for registration for the 2026 general election, and here they are. Alliance, the Tai Tokerau Party, the Tai Tokerau, New Zealand Loyal, and Free Palestine. And whether any or all of these parties will get registered is unknown at this stage, but on the off chance they do, I figured I should go over the policies of all 4 of them in vague detail, and I'll link their websites in the description so you can check it out for more detail, because I believe civic education is important, and whether or not I agree with these parties or would support these parties, it's important to know your options, because that's democracy. So let's take a look at Alliance. This is their We Stand For section. And we'll first read their little blurb, and then we'll read the sort of starting this little bit of all of their policies. So, the Alliance believes all people should enjoy secure, well-paid work, high-quality free education and healthcare, affordable housing and power, a safe, sustainable environment, and the right to make decisions about their lives and communities. That is their sort of goal. Those are their values. They call themselves a democratic socialist platform for Aotearoa, grounded in public ownership, workers' rights, and genuine treaty partnership. And let's take a look at sort of the blurb of all of their policies. So they want economic development, a productive, environmentally sustainable economy operated in the interest of all New Zealanders to ensure secure, well-paid jobs and a fair distribution of wealth. Education, health, housing, social security, and media. Free education for all, from primary through tertiary level. Taxation, a fair tax system to favour a future in which all New Zealanders are healthy, well-housed, well-educated, and in work. Te Tiriti o Waitangi. Te Tiriti o Waitangi is a core constitutional document in this land, and the basis for a shared future between tangata whenua, and all other people in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I apologise for my butchering of that word, possibly. Environment and climate change. A prosperous economy and a stable society in the future requires a natural world in balance. Justice. Safe and secure communities. Fairly simple. I'll read this a little bit as well. Ultimately, it is only by ensuring our communities enjoy well-paid jobs and free education and healthcare that crime rates will reduce and our communities become safer. State services and local government. A thriving national democracy requires healthy local democracy. Foreign affairs. Play our part in world affairs by helping to build a better world for all, free of war, inequality, and injustice. And here's a quote from their constitution. Global capitalism is not permanent or invincible. Invincible. We must challenge that conventional assumption and fight for a socialist alternative for society. That is the Alliance Party in a nutshell. Let's move now to Tai Tokerau. Now, I'll be entirely honest. They don't have anything on their website. They ask you to become a member. I should figure out what that means. They ask you to become a member, ask you to show your support, become a member, and then you can email them there. And then they've got some FAQs. They don't have any information about their policies or positions, or really much of anything, but to be honest, unless you are registered for the Tai Tokerau electorate, doesn't really matter. I think they're only running one candidate in the Tai Tokerau electorate. So, if that applies to you, go email them. I've attempted to email Tai Tokerau Party in order to maybe get more information, even as someone who is not registered in the Māori role and is not living in that electorate. I just wanted to know what they'd actually do so I could try to let you guys know. But at least for me, it doesn't seem to work, so bear that in mind. Let's move on to New Zealand Loyal, because there's nothing here. New Zealand Loyal has a lot of segments. So I just want to talk about this image here. It says 1% transaction tax, no income tax, no GST, no company tax, no hidden taxes, no IRD. That is apparently sort of their pitch. But let's just take a look at the overview of all of their policies. So let's look at defense. The New Zealand Loyal Defense Policy prioritizes the protection and well-being of New Zealanders and its people. New Zealand and its people. Our approach emphasizes the utilization of the New Zealand Defence Force in various roles, including domestic infrastructure projects, civil defence emergencies, and trade training. That's what they want for defence. Economics. Let's just have a look at the introduction. New Zealand's economy has been compromised by decades of neoliberal policies, privatization, and globalization. The promises of politicians who push for privatization have proven false, delivering neither greater efficiency nor lower costs. Instead, we've seen the systemic dismantling of our economy, leaving us vulnerable to external control. It's time to take back our economy and ensure it serves the people. Education. For decades, New Zealand's education system has prioritized academic achievement over individual talents and practical skills. This approach has led to a society where many feel disconnected from their passions and struggles to find purpose. It's time for a paradigm shift. Environment. The environment is the foundation of life, providing us with the air, water, and soil necessary for survival. New Zealand Loyal acknowledges the importance of protecting our natural heritage, but we reject the alarmist climate change narrative, which we believe is a hoax based on fake science. This narrative has been perpetuated by globalist entities using fear-mongering tactics to control and manipulate populations, encroach on individual freedoms, and justify land grabs. Farming. Farming has been the backbone of New Zealand's economy, driving growth and recovery. Despite this, farmers are often unfairly vilified. Our policy recognizes the vital role of farmers play and seeks to unleash their full potential. Fisheries. New Zealand's fisheries have been plagued by corruption, mismanagement, and destructive practices. New Zealand Loyal is committed to restoring our marine resources, promoting sustainable fishing practices, and ensuring that all New Zealanders can enjoy access to these resources without government overreach and regulation. Foreign affairs. New Zealand's foreign affairs and trade policy will prioritize the nation's interests and well-being above all else. We recognize the importance of engaging with the world while protecting our sovereignty and promoting mutually beneficial relationships. New Zealand's healthcare system has been compromised by corrupt practices, mismanagement, and a focus on illness maintenance rather than prevention and cure. New Zealand Loyal is committed to restoring our healthcare system, promoting transparency and accountability, and empowering New Zealanders to take control of their physical and mental health. Housing. New Zealand's housing market has been plagued by unaffordability, speculation, and predatory lending practices. New Zealand Loyal is committed to restoring the dream of home ownership for all Kiwis and prioritizing need and necessity. Immigration. New Zealand Loyal is committed to safeguarding the interests of New Zealanders, prioritizing their welfare and ensuring the country's sovereignty. Our immigration policy is designed to protect the nation's unique culture, values, and way of life while promoting a safe and prosperous society. Justice. Our justice policy is built on a no-nonsense logical framework that promotes real justice, deterrence, maximum freedoms, firm boundaries, and harsh penalties for violating individuals' rights. This policy aims to create a fair, effective, and accountable justice system that prioritizes individual rights, safety, and freedoms. Monetary and taxation. New Zealand will adopt a revolutionary economic framework, creating its own coin, credit, and currency, while introducing a 1% transaction tax to replace all other taxes. This policy aims to propel New Zealand to unprecedented prosperity by harnessing its natural resources, eliminating predatory market manipulation, and aligning with monetary policy with national interests. Property rights. We, the people of New Zealand, assert our unwavering commitment to protecting the fundamental right to private property, the sanctity of one's home and land inviolable, and any intrusion by the state will be met with unyielding resistance. That is their genuine words. Self-defense. Oh, that's a lot. We, the people of New Zealand, assert our fundamental right to defend ourselves, our families, businesses, and lands. This inherent right is not granted by the government, but rather it is the government's duty to protect and respect it. For too long, the government has overstepped its bounds, dictating how we can and cannot protect ourselves. This is a clear violation of our rights and freedoms. New Zealand Loyal is committed to restoring the balance of power, ensuring that individuals are responsible for their own lives and that the government is responsible for protecting our rights. And Treaty of Waitangi. The Treaty of Waitangi is a foundational document in New Zealand's history, signed by the Crown and Maori chiefs in 1940. However, it is essential to recognize that the treaty is a contract between the specific signatories and does not bind any other parties. not present at the sighting. Those are the policies of New Zealand Loyal. We will now move on to the fourth and final party that has applied Free Palestine. And here are their should we read their objectives or founding principle? Let's read the founding principles. A just peace in Palestine depends upon the return of Palestinian refugees to their homeland and the dismantling of the Zionist structure of the State of Israel, recognizing that the further partitioning of Palestine in order to create the so-called two-state solution would only lead to further injustice and suffering. Acceptance of the primacy of international law and the United Nations resolutions as the basis for ending of military occupation and all forms of ethnic discrimination in Israel. The international community's responsibility for upholding the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the urgent need for the State of Israel to be called to account for its gross abuses of Palestinian human rights. Justice requires the establishment of a single state in Palestine, binational, secular, and democratic, with full and equal citizenship for all, with ethnic and religious rights protected in a democratic constitution. Unconditional and complete solidarity for the Palestinian resistance in all forms according with international humanitarian law, and that New Zealand commit to an independent foreign policy by withdrawing itself from any formal security alliances with the United States and distancing our foreign policy from the orbit of the Anglo-United States economic hegemony, and military interventionism. Those are the founding principles of Free Palestine. So, now that all four parties have their positions, or lack thereof, explained, I leave it up to you to decide if you want to read more, and if you want to support any of those parties. It doesn't matter to me. And just remember, everything I said regarding policy is a direct quote from the party, not necessarily my individual position. I'm trying to remain mostly non-partisan on this channel, and failing.